I think
the goal is to punish and get revenge against the people they don't like. The goal is to kill their fellow Afghans who didn't go along with them during this 20-year war, and they will do that. And every drop of blood spilled is on the hands of the United States of America.
You know, I know, David, and I'm talking to David Keene, but David, the catastrophe that's going on in Afghanistan is enough alone, but we've got so much more than that. You know, with the southern border, with the COVID, the argument.
Oh yeah, every problem we face is going to get worse now because we're not dealing with those, and we could go through each one of them. The problem on the southern border is now huge. Yeah. Far, you know, it's you're getting 1 million people coming in a year now. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And there are no safeguards. I mean, they're not just penniless Mexicans and fearful Guatemalans. There are people from all over the world, including people with terrorist ties, coming into this country, and they're being released. Either whether they're sick, they're being given all kinds of care, they're being taken care of. They get more rights than a native-born American in many cases. That's a consequence of the same kind of leadership that led us into what we're now experiencing in Afghanistan. We're facing a bout of inflation that may very well compare with what happened during the late 70s and early 80s under the Carter administration, and we're being told it's just going to be temporary. Yes, it'll just be temporary. That inflation was only temporary, but it robbed people of billions and trillions of dollars in value. It hurt the poor. It hurt everyone. It was devastating to the American economy. That's beginning to grow now. We are entering a period of great challenge, and those challenges are mounting because of the political leadership that we have. Regardless of why anyone voted for Joe Biden, whether they were a traditional Democrat, whether they hated Donald Trump, whether they were for different policies and the like, every one of those people has to look at this and say, my God, what have we done? We have elected an administration and put it into power that has managed to mess up all of our domestic and foreign policies in a very short period of time. The only plus side is that we are a democracy and can fix it. Can at least fix the fact that we made a huge political mistake in putting these people into power, and we can fix the other things over time. But this is a huge setback to this country, to this country's economy, to the American culture, to America's position in the world. You can see our allies just sort of looking and saying, oh, my God, the Americans are not going to provide any kind of leadership or responsible cooperation from this point on.
Well, Peter Doocy said this yesterday to the president during whatever this thing, call it, I don't even call them press conferences anymore because it's scripted who gets the questions and everything else. But he actually, he said, the buck stops here with you. And then immediately Biden started talking about Trump and how he'd worked out the deals. Mm-hmm. And Doocy said, but Trump's not president anymore, and you can change those deals. Right. And it stopped him right in his tracks. I mean, we've changed every other deal that we had with the other administration with a stroke of a pen. But this is the one deal you're going to keep in? Makes no sense. And the UK just the other day, made him in contempt. I'm waiting for everybody on the UN floor to stand up for this.
Right. Well, you can say whatever you want to say about Trump and his decision to want to withdraw most forces from Afghanistan. That goes back to my earlier point that you could be for or against all of that. But nobody other than Joe Biden is responsible for the way in which all of this was executed. That's not on Donald Trump. That's not on anybody else except the President of the United States today.
That's right.
He's the one who made the decision to close the airport, the air base. He's the one who said we're just going to withdraw everybody overnight, bang, and then anybody who wants to get out, we'll maybe help them get out, but we didn't. He's the one whose administration, at his orders, turned over identifying information on the people that worked with us to the enemy. He's the one who did all that, not Donald Trump, not George Bush, not anybody that was there before, but Joe Biden, the President of the United States.
The Supreme Court just came out and said that Remain in Mexico law needs to go back. But I talked to Border Patrol people, and they said it's impossible because that was only possible because of the agreements we had with Mexico and other countries, and we don't have those agreements anymore. And that's going to take time, and there's nobody willing to talk to the administration now.
Yep, and why would they now? When you think about it, why would they?
Right. So the Supreme Court can say what they want about put it back in place. We don't have the ability to do it under the current regime.
Yeah, all the Supreme Court can do is say that what was done was legal, and so therefore you can't knock it down. But they're not in a position to change the world.
No.
And the Biden administration doesn't really pay much attention to them anyway. What the Supreme Court yesterday had to once again say, no, you can't have this rent moratorium. We told you once, and now we're telling you again. But this administration just thinks the court is something that's out there making statements, and it doesn't really affect their actions.
So 25th Amendment has been brought up. Not that it would make a difference or at all, but it was brought up during Trump, and feverishly brought up that Trump was not competent. And we hear it a little bit now, and I think it just came out again yesterday by somebody. But
yeah, I mean that was a reach then. The 25th Amendment is there. If the President of the United States, whoever he may be, demonstrates not by the idiocy of his decisions, but by the fact that he is physically or mentally, and provably mentally or physically, unable to govern the country, that creates a de facto vacuum, and he can be removed by the 25th Amendment. In terms of removing somebody for political reasons, no matter how bad you think he or she is, I don't think that works, and it's just a diversion. We have a system to remove incompetent, dangerous, and bad leaders, and you start next November by removing the backup that they have from loyal phalanxes of people in Congress. You you hog tie them that way, and then you remove them from office at the ballot box. And that, I predict, is going to happen.
Even under the current situation that there's possibly some activity going on with the ballots, or there's attempted to even do more harvesting and things that may take away some of the counters.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're continuing to do it, but they haven't succeeded in their goal of rewriting the ground rules. When Joe Biden and his allies took office, they knew that what they wanted to do was going to create a political backlash. And in order to prevent that backlash from removing them and their friends from office, they decided they had to jigger with the rules so that they could put up with the backlash and sort of inoculate themselves from public pressure by taking control of the electoral system. They're still trying to do that. They haven't been able to do it, and it's not going to work. You can steal votes if you want. It's been going on for 100 years in this country, at the local, state, and national levels. But you can, and that can affect very, very close elections. At this point, with their support collapsing, they're going to realize that, one, they're probably not going to get this that they want, fight as they will for it, and that even if they get it, you can't steal enough votes to stop a landslide. And the odds are right now that, and you see this fear in the Congress, which on the one hand is stimulating them to try to get the rules changed, but on the other hand, scaring them because they know that they're facing massive losses in the off-year election next year because of the way that everything's collapsing around them. So you can expect desperate measures, but we're not in what has become the new normal in America, which is a situation in which the two parties are divided by just a few votes. Given the leadership that we've had and the consequences of that leadership that's going to become more apparent during the course of the next year, they're not looking at 2000 or 2020 or 2016 at the presidential level. They're looking at 1994, and that's something that sticking your thumb in a hole in the dike isn't going to stop. They've got much bigger problems than how many vote counters they are. Their problem is that the votes are at this point likely to be overwhelming when the next election comes up.
You mentioned all the things that have happened in the last few months to just going to hurt us. My question is, though, because there's so much. I'm talking the inflation, the economy, the money spending, Afghanistan, the southern border. It's almost impossible. It's not intentional. Do you think it's intentional to harm the country?
Well, it's hard to put yourself in someone else's shoes. I think Joe Biden is perfectly capable of doing a lot of damage in a dark kitchen with a kitchen knife. I don't know that it has to be intentional. I don't know what his motives are. It's hard to discern any kind of rational motive. Certainly, there are people around him that for which many of these policies are rational. The inflation, after all, is really a way to redistribute wealth. Unfortunately, for the country, it hurts everyone, and particularly the particularly poorer, less well-off Americans. But it is essentially a tax, and you see some of their economists saying, "Well, this isn't a bad thing. It's another way of taxing. It also allows you to pay off some of the debts with funny money that is worth a lot less than it was before." So you've got them saying, "Well, this is, it'll be temporary, and maybe we'll only reduce the wealth of our citizens by 10, 15, 20%. We can live with that."
Jeez.
That may be rational. It's crazy. It's bad economics. It's bad for the country, and even worse, it's bad for the people who live in this country because it steals from them. But there are those who think that that's really a good idea. And there are those who think that the United States should not even be involved in the world. And I'm no neoconservative. I'm not one who thinks we should be the policeman of the world. But the United States has interests, the United States has friends, the United States has allies, and there are consequences if you let one's enemies force you on your knees before them, because that simply whets the appetite of your enemies, and that's what we're doing. Now, there are those who think that's a good thing. I'm not sure the President of the United States feels that way. I'm not sure the President of the United States has much consideration for the consequences of what he does. I'm not sure he understands what he's doing. But his motives are not relevant. What is relevant is what's happening. And what is happening is a result of what he's doing, regardless of why he's doing it.
Absolutely. George, I'm running out of time, my friend.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks to say thanks to Donna, as always, for setting this all up, and really
next time let's have a more positive conversation.
I'm in favor.
Yeah, well, and well, at least you're getting to go fishing, so I hope they're biting. So, thank you very much again.
Thanks, guys.
My pleasure.
All right, take care, and we'll be right back. AM 560, KBLU.